What's going on, everybody? Today I have the biggest, most expensive and most badass Garmin Edge device you can buy. It is the 1030, the pinnacle, the big dog, the very top of the GPS mountain. And I'm gonna review it. Let's get into it. Let's start with the first thing that's good about this unit, the hardware. It is an absolutely beautiful unit. It's sleek and minimalist. I like the way it mixes both white and black binding around the case. And yes, it's quite large, but honestly, you get used to it really quickly. It's like every time you upgrade to a larger phone. You just kind of get used to it, and then it feels normal. The star of the hardware is the screen. It looks beautiful. You can fit a bunch of data fields on all at once and have them all clearly visible. It makes the maps look gorgeous. There's a lot of cool use of color in there too. So the hardware looks great and it feels great to use. Big tick for the Garmin there. Now the second thing that I really like, and this was a complete surprise, is the battery life. This thing is surprisingly has a really great battery. Just last week I did a ride with 8.5 hours moving, a little bit over 10 hours of elapsed time, and it still had 58% battery at the end of it. That's really good. Way better than I would expect from a Garmin, way better than any Garmin I've used before. Still not quite as great as something like the Lezines, but as far as Garmin's go, with the amount of features that run in this thing, that's very impressive. Great job, Garmin. The next thing that's really good is the maps. They are superbly detailed. They have so much information on them, and you match it to the big screen, and it's just a pleasure to ride along with the maps display turned on. You can put 2 data fields at the bottom of the map screen and just roll along watching your speed and your power data, and see yourself rolling down the roads and see what's nearby. It's really cool. The maps are damn good. Another strength of the unit is the Strava integration. If that is something that interests you, it's definitely something that interests me. You get a dedicated Strava live segment screen that tracks you against all kinds of benchmarks, whether it's the KOM, your previous record, or someone who you're following. And you can easily switch between them so you can change your target on the fly. It'll even show you starred segments on the map screen so you can tell when you're near a starred segment. That's cool, I like seeing that. I love the way the unit comes with the Strava Routes IQ app in it. So you can connect your Garmin and Strava accounts and have all of your Strava routes available on the device. It can be a little bit fiddly sometimes, and I had some annoying Bluetooth errors when I was trying to fire up the routes on the device itself, but generally it worked pretty well. The navigation features on the 1030 are excellent. Once you're following a route, it'll give you turn-by-turn directions on the map screen. It has plenty of warning, it gives you big arrows that are easy to follow. You can even create courses with just the head unit itself. It's a little bit fiddly. You can do it by dropping pins, or you can do it by entering addresses. It takes a little while to get used to, but it does work. And if you really need to create a route on the fly using just the device, it will do it, and it will do it pretty well. The 1030 has a lot of excellent fitness tracking metrics built into it too. So you can finish a ride, you might get a new notification about a new FTP or a new VO2 max that the device has detected. It'll also give you a rundown of how your ride affects your training, so if it has positively influenced your aerobic or your anaerobic fitness. And that's cool. You can then go into the Garmin Connect website or the mobile app and see how your data is tracking over time. Track your VO2 max and FTP, and I really like that stuff. It's good to have one-stop shop for years worth of data if you've been a long-time Garmin user. Once you're done riding, the 1030 will do the Bluetooth upload. That's kind of industry standard now, so it's not remarkable, but it does it very quickly, and I like that. So once you've ended your activity, it will upload within a minute or two. Still the quickest out of any device I've used to date, and it's a thing that I quite like. So those really are the main strengths of the unit. Now let's talk about things that I didn't like quite so much, and having praised the screen, I'm now going to criticize it. This is a touchscreen device, and I do not like touchscreens. I've been using this for weeks now, and I still just don't like it. It's sluggish and unresponsive. I put the sensitivity up to high, and the number of times I would drag my finger across the screen and it just wouldn't change really started to infuriate me. So this is definitely the best touchscreen I've ever had on a GPS, but it's still just not a good touchscreen in general. We've become used to phone touchscreens and it's not the same style of touchscreen, and I completely recognize that, but that's what you're used to, and that's what users kind of expect from the modern touch screen. This can be very sluggish and unresponsive, like touch accuracy can be a bit of a problem where you might think you're hitting a button, but it won't register that you're hitting the button and it'll do something completely different. So I'm just not at all sold on touchscreen GPSs. I would much prefer buttons personally. I will say though that the touchscreen makes setting up this unit vastly easier than any Garmin I've set up before. So it's kind of an on the fence thing. The touchscreen can be good, but it can also be very annoying. And speaking of setup, that brings me to the second thing that I don't like. There is no smartphone setup with this unit yet. It's 2018 and that's just an expected feature now. Vastly cheaper units like the Lezyne Mega series, they have smartphone setup and it works really well. Garmin, it's time to do smartphone setup. The next thing that's a bit of a bummer is that the maps are region blocked. So you get the gorgeous detailed Garmin maps, but only in the region that the unit was purchased. So I will have Australia and New Zealand, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the world, you can use open maps. There's a few people around the internet, particularly DC Rainmaker, who have walked through how to get that, but it kind of bums me out that a unit that's so expensive only gives you very limited maps. As good as they are, they're just your region, and that bums me out. Another thing that bummed me out, there's quite a few bugs in this. I had it crash multiple times when I was setting it up, just for no apparent reason. It would turn off, that's pretty annoying. And a couple times while I was out riding, it would just switch itself off. I'd have to end the activity, start a new one, and then it would be fine. Then a couple of other times it would freeze on the screen where it's powering down. This unit has been on the market for a while, it's got the most updated firmware, it's still just buggy. Another thing that I don't like is that there's just too many features. There is stuff in here that you just go, why would anyone need that? For example, if you go through the maps, you can get it to list local businesses and it'll draw you a route to get to them. That includes really strange things like florists and tattoo parlors and yacht clubs. For all the times that you're out riding your bike and you feel the need to drop into a florist. I just don't really see the point of that. It's not really up to date either. If you compare what's in here to what's on Google Maps, it is nowhere near as detailed. So what I'm trying to say with this is that at some point Garmin has to stop trying to do everything on the unit itself and start letting the smartphone do some stuff for you. It's okay to outsource some functions to a smartphone. The GPS doesn't have to do everything. And it might sound like a bit of a weird criticism, but I'd like to see Garmin start hacking away some of the features. So many of them, you're just like, why do I need that? Who could possibly need that? So with all that in mind, it's now time to talk about whether you should buy it. And it's 750 Australian dollars, and that's a lot of cash. I think this unit is brilliant, and I absolutely love it. I am so bummed because I have to send it back to Garmin because this was just a review unit. I'm gonna miss it when it's gone because I've got used to how good it actually is. Even with all those complaints, it's still a really pleasurable unit to ride with. So I'm fully on board with this thing. It's great. But for 750 bucks, that's just so much money. Personally, I can't justify it. There are too many cheaper units that do so much that I don't feel like I have to spend all that extra money to get what this unit can do. But for those of you who do a lot of touring maybe, or you really want the absolute best maps, you want the best screen, you want all the things that this has to offer, and it offers a lot of things, yeah, go for it. And that is where I'm gonna end it. Thank you for joining me. If you have a 1030, let me know what your thoughts are on it. If you're thinking of buying a 1030, hopefully this has given you some help. Stick around on the channel. I've accrued a whole bunch of GPS review videos recently. Like, subscribe, that stuff really helps me out and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.